Hello. I see people trying to justify their support of Donald Trump. They come up with ludicrous arguments. One is they try to say, well, are you comfortable with a man, a trans woman, being in the bathroom with your daughter? Forget the fact that there's no cases of a trans person assaulting a child. Nowhere. But there is many cases of Donald Trump assaulting women in the most intimate way. Matter of fact, at Jeffrey Epstein's, yes, that Jeffrey Epstein's, Donald Trump raped 13-year-old Katie Johnson. And you can look this up and you will see just what we're talking about. So don't give me the argument you voted for him because you're concerned about trans people being in the bathroom with your little girl. They are safer with those trans people than they are with Donald Trump. But now let's get down to the real reason a lot of you voted for Trump. There's no other reason but racism. Pure, unadulterated racism. Your CEOs, your rich Republican, they're white as they can be, shipped your jobs overseas and then lied to you, said, oh, it's because the immigrants coming in here taking your job. No, they shipped your job out to make more money and they didn't care about you or your family. But you're willing to buy the racist argument. That is why so many of you voted for Trump, because of racist hate. You're afraid of the browning of America. You feel, and you know just how wrong people have been treated in minorities, how the ghost white people have been so rude and cruel to people of color. And you're afraid as you become a minority, you might get treated the same way. And yeah, there's a possibility of this. But there also is a possibility that we can make peace and live together in harmony. So I'm saying you cannot continue in an evil system just because you're afraid that you might receive some of the evil you've dished out, or that you know has been dished out that you've done nothing for. And let me tell you what Donald Trump's doing. He's bringing a curse down upon America, down upon the United States. Especially if you call yourself a Christian, you ought to take a second look. All the books behind me, those books deal with the study of the Bible. Now let me quote you a passage in Exodus chapter 22, verses 21 through 24. It says this: do not mistreat or oppress an immigrant because you once were immigrants. If you do treat them badly, they will cry to me. You can be sure I will hear their cry, and I will be furious, and I will kill you with the sword. Let me tell you something. Did you notice something? Both Donald Trump and Joe Biden both got COVID. Donald Trump almost died. For Joe Biden, it was like a bad case of the flu, and he came through it with no problems. Jesus, I'm going to paraphrase what Jesus also said in Matthew 25, verses 43 through 42. Jesus was talking to these people. He was telling them who would be getting to heaven and who would be going to hell. And part of it, he said, I was a stranger. Stranger was a biblical term for immigrant. He said, I was a stranger and you did not welcome me in. And they said, when did we ever see you a stranger? And Jesus said, when you didn't welcome in the least of these, you did not welcome me in. To them, he said, you will go into the fires of hell. Don't be surprised if misery comes on the United States because of Trump's mistreatment of immigrants. Now, we know he ignored the warnings of COVID, and the country was hit hard. Part of that, I think, was God's judgment. I will be wearing a mask a lot when I go out just to be safe, because there's a possibility we're going to be hit with the bird flu, which may be just as bad as COVID was. We don't know. But we know that Donald Trump will mishandle it just like he did COVID, and many will die. I want to make sure I'm not one of them. But be sure of this. God's judgment will come on people who mistreat other people. The United States has been blessed for many years. That blessing can be lifted. Matter of fact, the Jewish historian Josephus said at one point he believed God lifted his blessing off of the people of Israel and put it on the Latin people, us Italians and Hispanics and Southern French. Because Israel became no more and became part of the Roman Empire. And Rome was doing what Israel was supposed to do. God's blessing can be lifted and a curse can be put into place. So if you're a Christian and you voted for this man, you need to pray. You need to ask God to forgive you, and you need to pray and you need to help. You might have to take in some of these people being hunted down. You may have to hide them from the authorities. If you do so, you're doing the work of God. We must stand united against evil, or we will become evil and we will receive the reward for being evil. Thank you, everybody. I'm sorry I don't have more cheerful thoughts for you. Have a good night.